Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Cheese Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Tonight, I am joined by Chuck. Tonight, before we get talking about the Packers preseason, I want to give a quick shout out to the Open Network for giving me the umbrella to do this pod under the Open Network. Like I said, umbrella. They have reached their goal of their 523 followers, so they did give away the Jair Alexander signed photograph a few weeks ago. Chuck, preseason wrapped up for the Packers yesterday, and how do you feel about not seeing much of the starters this year on the Packers as far as playing in the games?
Well, it's an interesting question. This is my grandson, Cameron, by the way. He's
Hi,
a
Cameron.
fan of the show, so wanted to say hi.
Awesome.
But it's been interesting because obviously there was two different views we saw last week in Denver, where the top 31 players didn't play. Okay, and it was ugly. It was real ugly. And then yesterday, nice home game against the Ravens, and I was really impressed with the defense. And I think I see where LaFleur is going with this because he knows who his starters are. He's confident. He really wants competition. He wants to battle for those second level players, and I think we saw a lot. And I know I was really impressed with our draft. One of the things I wasn't impressed with, or I didn't know a lot about, was Tyron Hopper. And I think both games, the Denver game and yesterday against the Ravens, I really thought he showed himself very well, and kind of gave me a little feeling that if he's needed to play, hopefully he can be counted on. Granted, that's only 2 preseason games, but gave me more confidence than I had just, coming out of the draft. So that was encouraging. And,
anything else to go to you during the game yesterday?
What?
Anything else pop out to you as you're watching the game yesterday?
Obviously, defensive pressure I liked. Obviously, number 53, and I'm blanking on his name, and I feel really bad about that. But Mosby with the strip sack, and then the nice pick, which wasn't an easy catch either. And
no,
after you make a big strip sack like that, and then you go into coverage, and you can still make the play. That's impressive. And I was, and then something else from yesterday. Michael Pratt looks better than Sean Clifford, and I don't think it was close. I mean, I know Clifford's got the extra year under his belt, and he's probably more experience as even a college player. But I think Michael Pratt's got more of the upside, and obviously, if God forbid something happens to Jordan, the season's kind of screwed. But if he has to miss a half a game, a couple games, we have to count on someone. I think, at least at this point, I'm leaning toward Michael Pratt.
Yeah, same here. Mosby impressed me a lot yesterday watching him play. Another player that I was impressed with was Kalen King, where he'd get blocked, but he'd fight back to make that tackle.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to hop in there and make a tackle. Hopper was all over the field. Welch, he was all over the place.
He had a nice pick too.
Yeah. And I'm undecided with the kickers. I have no idea what is going on in Green Bay with their kickers, but we got to pick one. I heard they might keep 2.
Well, they have the international player, that Alex Hale.
Yep.
And he's kind of like guaranteed a spot through this international program.
Right.
So they're going to keep him, plus one of the other 2, I think, Carlson or Joseph. Now, obviously neither one impressed us. as we know with Carlson, he's got a big leg. Yeah, he can make the 54-yarder, but he can also miss a 30. He can miss an extra point, which he missed the most in football last year, which is quite frustrating. So,
Right.
Greg Joseph maybe he might be a little more consistent, but we don't need a little more. We need a lot more. I mean, we could live without the 57-yarders if we're constantly getting the 46-yarders to 35-yarders. And I think with such a strong offense, we don't need the spectacular. We need the solid thing we can count on, and so.
Let's just hope our offense puts us in a position where we don't need to be kicking field goals left and right.
That's a great point. That fantastic point. Now, last year, Jordan Love was pretty efficient in the end zone, actually significantly more than the year before with Rodgers. So if we can continue that strength and be more effective in the red zone area, then you're right. That lessens the effect that a mediocre kicker will have on us.
Yeah, you don't want to get to the point to where it's like 4th and 5 from like the 37, and you could kick a field goal, or else you could just go for it knowing your kicker is 50-50 anyway. So it might as well, if you have that good of a defense, put the trust in your defense to defend that, the 65 yards of open field,
Yeah, very good. It's just the games like, in the game against the 49ers in the playoffs, against the lesser teams, you can miss a field goal, an extra point, and the world's not going to end. But, against those good teams, you're going to need everything, and you're not always going to be able to storm down the field on teams, and you're going to need that kicker. And I know our goal isn't just, let's have a good season. We're not the Bears or the Vikings. We have bigger aspirations, as you know. And so,
yeah, kind of interesting news. I mean, obviously it happened last weekend or whatever the week before, but McCarthy going down. That's got to. I mean, who would you put your faith in, McCarthy or Darnold?
Yeah, I mean,
Darnold's a seasoned vet, but still, he has good days and bad days, but more bad than good because he's been around the league.
Yeah, he's not going to scare you. He might be, at least in the first year, might have been a little more consistent than McCarthy was, but that's really hurts Minnesota because, maybe you're not expecting a lot from year one, but you want to see the development. And then, by year two, then he's, ready to go. I'm sure that's what the Vikings were planning on. And, now that he's not getting those reps, which is so valuable for a rookie player, that's a big blow to them. So,
yeah, it sucks to see injuries in general and to see how it can affect, especially coming off a national championship with Michigan. You hate to see someone go down.
Right.
But that's just part of the nature, I guess, nature of the beast.
Yeah, definitely. Well, obviously, people feel like that. Yesterday in my fantasy football draft, Justin Jefferson slid to early second round, and I was able to pick him up. And normally he's, first round. Yeah, but people, maybe rightly or wrongly, they weren't confident about the quarterbacking situation there, and so that's why he dropped.
Right. What are your thoughts on? We'll kind of go through like the depth chart, kind of position by position. Right now, I got Jordan Love and Michael Pratt, quarterback.
Yeah, 1-2.
It's just Clifford. Clifford seems to when he gets flushed out of the pocket, he seems to throw the ball kind of wild. Pratt seems more like he can see more of the field, and he has the arm to make up for whatever position that he's in. Running back, we didn't see much of Josh Jacobs. He really doesn't have anything to prove in the NFL.
But yesterday, everyone looked good, even the guys we weren't even real familiar with. Merriweather looked good. Obviously, Emmanuel Wilson looked good. And there was a guy after that who looked good as well. And
wasn't it like McCreary?
McCreary, yes.
McCreary.
Yeah. So is that the running backs or is that the offensive line? I kind of think it's
or is that Baltimore's defense?
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know what I'm saying? That's the one part that sucks is trying to gauge these guys. Obviously, you didn't play any of your starters to see like 2s and 3s versus other 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
I mean, Wilson looked good at different points last year as well. You know,
he did. Yeah, after his injury, he came back and he looked good.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be Jacobs, Wilson, and Marshawn Lloyd. Even though we haven't seen much of Marshawn Lloyd, you're not going to utilize him drafting him that early in the draft. You're not going to utilize him. You're not going to draft him that early and give up on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I honestly, I think definitely those three. I think they're going to keep Wilson too on the 53. I think they're going to go, and partly I'm sure for special teams reasons, but I think they're going 4 running backs. Just thought. I think because we're going to start to use them more in the offense. I think we're going to be throwing to them. I think we're just a lot of disguising, things in the offense that we're going to want to see. Maybe even sometimes two backs, and so that might be something to look for.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did Dillon play against the Broncos?
No.
I wonder if he has an injury.
Well, because yesterday he wasn't suited. He didn't have shoulder pads on,
Nope.
and someone, I saw it on Twitter, someone asked him, why aren't you suiting up? And then he gave some kind of flippant answer. He didn't really address the question. So,
he flipped the answer as to, well, I don't see you out there suited up or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, well, that doesn't tell us anything.
What would you expect from him, right?
Right, yeah. Now, obviously, they could cut Dillon, and for the contract they signed him, it really wouldn't cost them anything. But I think that's the reason why they keep him, because it really doesn't cost them anything, and they got the experience, and he can always go in as a pass protection back, too, and so that's why I'm thinking they're going to keep the 4.
Yeah. So you think it's going to be Jacobs, Wilson, Lloyd, and Dillon?
Yeah.
What about receiver?
That's going to be tough. Nice problem to have, but yeah, it's still a type of a problem, because you're kind of worried. You cut anyone, you're not getting them back on the practice squad. They're probably going to get eaten up, on waivers. So obviously,
I'd be comfortable with obviously Watson, Dubs, Reed, Witt, Melton, and Malik Heath.
Yeah, and that's 6. And then, do you go 7? I think that might be tough. I think you go 6. I think they really like Grant DuBose, and I think I've seen some nice stuff from him this year. And because he was a draft pick, that we kind of lean a little heavier on draft picks. But if you take 7 wide receivers, someone else isn't gonna be picked up. So where do you make that cut? So I think I agree with your 6, and I think they really want Grant DuBose to at least get to the practice squad, and I mean, even guys like Samori Toure, he's nice. He's probably not better than the other guys, but he's definitely shown that he's been serviceable, when in games last year. So I think it's an embarrassment of riches at that place. So
it's just crazy. You always mix. I mean, I always think you think about Greg Jennings, how good he was in Green Bay with, Aaron Rodgers, and running his mouth, and when he left town and thought he was so good until he realized he had a crap quarterback and he wasn't as good as he thought without that good quarterback. I always think about, like even going back to like Brett Favre, and Javon Walker was a stud for the Packers with Brett Favre. Yeah. And then he went to Denver, and just his whole world got turned upside down in Denver pretty much, with that, his friend that got shot in the limo or whatever.
Oh. Yeah, and then he got robbed and something. Yeah,
so I mean, it's just it depends on the quarterback. You can be the best receiver in the NFL, but you go to a team with a mediocre quarterback, and I mean, unless somehow he gets better with you playing for him. I mean, I guess look at Devontae Adams going with Derek Carr. Mm-hmm. And he had a decent season. Was it last year? And how long has he been in Oakland for? or Las Vegas? 2 years?
2 years. This is his third. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he put up okay numbers, but he's had decent court. I guess not. I don't know. Like these receivers, I think if they left Jordan Love and went to, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a team right now that has like not that good of a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a few of those.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. If you don't have a decent quarterback, you're not going to get your stats.
Right. So you might get the targets, but are you going to get the targets where you want them? Are you going to be able to get yards after catch? That's probably the difference between a lot of quarterbacks. Where you hit them in stride, you hit them, you make them get open, or other times you just So.
Yeah. What are your thoughts at tight end?
Actually, Tucker Kraft coming back for that injury, he's actually looking better than Musgrave right now, honestly. Yeah. And I could see him with a good touchdown target this year, because our wide receiver is going to get covered. I could see that. And I like Musgrave. I think special teams is going to play a lot on who's they're going to keep, kind of like Ben Sims, but I think that's a real tough one. What are you thinking on the tight ends?
I'm thinking they're going to keep 3, and it's Musgrave, Kraft, and Sims.
Yeah.
They all showed us good, or not greatness, but they all showed us good potential last year. Why change a good thing if you can keep them under contract?
And they were all kind of injured at one point last year, so I'm sure somebody's going to, maybe one of the guys can make it to the practice squad, so.
Right. Offensive tackle.
I was hoping it would just be, it would play itself out and make it clear. I don't think it's done that. Obviously Morgan getting hurt really has, it's made that as clear as mud right now. And the signing of Dillard, former first round pick.
Yep.
He hasn't even been playing, so that kind of tells me that he's going to be a backup tackle and he's going to make the team, I think. And but I think we're just going to kind of keep it similar to last year. I think Royce Newman's going to get cut, or he should have been cut, in previous years. I think they're going to play Josh Myers again at starter, and that's so frustrating because Creed Humphrey was right there for us to take, and we passed him and took Myers, and now Creed Humphreys just signed a new contract. He's going to be the highest paid center in NFL history. It's because he's good. It's like,
But you go back to those statements saying people within the organization saying that Zach Tom could be one of the best centers of all time. If he played center. For tackle, I got Rasheed Walker, Zach Tom, Dillard, Kadeem Telfort, and Glover.
Yeah, Glover. Yeah, I think you got to keep him.
But then again, those guys, they're valuable because they can be moved up and down that line. Now, I didn't mention Jordan Morgan because I think they're going to move him to guard. Interior lineman, where I got Jenkins, Myers, Sean Ryan, Jordan Morgan, and Jacob Monk.
I like Jacob Monk from what I've seen from him. He's he's a mauler too, but he's a smart guy. So Cameron. Yeah. So anyway, I think he's good. I think he's going to be the eventual center, Jacob Monk. Even though you're right. I've heard many times about how great Zach Tom will be, but I haven't really seen him there that much. And I think we're kind of looking him. What do you think? Right tackle now?
Was that Monk?
Or Zach Tom.
Zach Tom, yeah, right tackle. Yeah. I would put Rasheed Walker at Love's blind side. Left tackle.
Right.
Mr. Bakhtiari.
I think he did a good job there last year. You know,
Yeah.
he's not an all-pro, but he was solid and consistent, and you know, he's just going to get better, I think, as he goes. That was his first year, so I
Yeah.
think he did a great job considering the circumstances.
Right. I'm looking at this defensive keeps, and I'm excited looking at all these names. Like for defensive end, I got Rashawn, Preston Smith, Kingsley, Nagbar, and Lucas Van Ness.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Lucas Van Ness, like I had said on my first appearance on your podcast, you know, I think he's going to have a big year, and I think we need that depth because Rashawn Gary's practically unblockable, and I think he's going to. And Preston Smith's always tough. He's got that veteran smarts, and he can get in and wreak havoc. But I think the line's gonna be good, and Kenny Clark's going to be here for a longer time. And I'm pretty excited about the defensive line and what Hafley's going to do with it. Any stunts or what, you know, things we don't normally see to get us some turnovers, which we've already seen. Yeah, yesterday was
Like, what, five turnovers?
Yeah, that's like, yeah, they had the fumble recovery. They had was it 3 picks and another fumble, I think.
Yeah, it was a crazy game for sure. It started off kind of slow, but it picked up those couple of that one scoop and score was, I think, what turned that game around.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the momentum shifted immediately.
It was 6-0, and they had that long, like 38-yard touchdown to that Wallace, whatever his name is. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna come back and just punch us, you know. And we ended up getting that scoop and score, and it just ended up going downhill from there for the Ravens, you know.
Yeah. It was unusual. One thing I noted watching that game yesterday is they kind of were flipping Clifford and Pratt. You know, it's like separate series. You know, and it's like I suppose that's good because you want, you know, because since they're not going to be starters and going to get all that time, they have to be thrown in. You know, and they're not always going to be able to gather rhythm like Jordan will be after, you know, a couple quarters. Then they get the feel. So I think that was kind of a good method to do that to the.
Yeah, I like that. You know, you wonder if they're doing like different packages when they're bringing them in, you know, to see like what their strength and weakness was.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited about our defensive line. I have Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton, Carl Brooks, and Colby Wooden.
Oh yeah, that's very solid. You know, and I even like what Colby Wooden has done. You know, and if he's our 5th guy in the line, I think that's pretty nice. But I know some people weren't real fans of Devontae Wyatt on draft day, but I think he's getting better, and I think he's going to be a good, you know, a good side partner to Kenny Clark, and I think he's you know, he's got the physical skills, which is undeniable, you know, and just hopefully he can provide, you know, the run stuffing and a little pass rush as well. So.
Yeah, well, I know like he came in and he didn't live up to, I guess, our expectations. Like we expected him coming off a national championship, him and Quay Walker to come in and make an instant impact in the first round. And some of these guys don't transition right away to the NFL, and you know what I'm saying? They don't catch on right away. And you know, Quay had, you know, those couple of incidents with his discipline, and you know, but now he's one of the leaders of the defense. You know, he realized he had a problem. He took care of it that next off season, and you even saw last year when stuff was like on the field like happening, he'd be the first one to walk away from the incident. You know, versus the year before, he probably would have been right in the mix of it. You know,
getting a personal foul and 15 yards. All right.
But one thing I do like is our secondary. And just more and more every week, I just can't wait till we play the first game to see. I have Jair Stokes, Nixon, Valentine, and Kalen King.
Yeah.
I think we got to steal with Kalen King in the 7th round.
Oh, definitely.
And I think we're going to make – you just got to, get him around good players. He's just going to get – he's just going to learn from them,
Well, also, I like that Hafley was a defensive backs coach, and I think those guys are going to get a little special, instruction from him too. And I think he's going to make an emphasis of the cornerbacks and the safeties needing to be strong. And I think, if he can get them schooled on what he wants, I think that's going to help a lot. So.
Well, there was even a piece on Twitter a few weeks ago where he was taking time to individually go and talk to each corner and go over things with them individually.
Oh, fantastic!
So he's teaching them, coaching them up one-on-one too. So that's good.
All right.
Good to see. McKinney, I can't wait to see him play in a regular season game at safety. Safety, I have 6 safeties.
Oh yeah.
I got McKinney, Bullard, Williams, Anthony Johnson Jr.
Oh, he's been playing well in the preseason.
Oladapo and Zane Anderson.
Yeah, Zane had a nice play yesterday too. He broke up that pass. So now, is 6 too many safeties? Ask. I don't think so. Normally, because you could play up to 3 safeties on a play. So I think with special teams involved, because safeties usually always play special teams, I think 6 will work. And I like all those guys you mentioned. I think the rookies have been playing great. Oladipo, hopefully now he's back from his injury, he can get stronger, because I really liked him coming out of the draft. So
right.
Yeah, I think this is the one position that we turned from a real negative last year to hopefully going to be a positive. It might take a few weeks to all get them together, but I'm very encouraged on the safety depth.
Yeah, Evan Williams, he a couple plays I've seen him make this preseason. He had that one strip for a fumble. He kind of reminds me of in a way, kind of like a Micah Hyde.
Oh, nice.
He's in there fighting for the ball and trying to rip the ball out of the ball carrier's hand, and so if he can live up to that, then he'll be good for us.
Oh yeah. I'll take a Micah Hyde any day. Yeah, it's I'm just glad with the way we're progressing on that position, going from a definite need to hopefully a position of strength, and so. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah, and I mean for the specialist, for now I guess I have Anders Carlson.
Yeah, because they invested the draft pick in him, and Joseph hasn't done anything to, differentiate himself, so he could miss just as well as Anders can. But
you know what threw me off yesterday? When they were doing, Carlson and Joseph both did it. I don't know if it's on purpose or the first half of the game when they're kicking off. They're 2 or 3 steps away from the ball. But then in the second half, they had a 5, 6, 7, 8 step drop. I wonder what the reasoning behind that was.
Well, they were putting it in the end zone. I'm just wondering if Bisaccia talked to them. It's like, hey, I want you to do this, and maybe try a different step drop. I'm not sure. That'd be interesting to find out what the change was there.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I'm like, what? They're it's they're almost getting ready for an extra point kick first half, and the second half was like a 7 or 8 step drop back. And obviously you're going to kick the ball further when you're further back from the ball because you're getting more built up momentum,
This would have been good for Mason Crosby because, at the end, I think a lot of us were, he's still kicking field goals pretty well, but, his kickoff length is kind of, lessening. And so now with these new rules, Mason be fine on the kickoffs.
I don't know. I seen it yesterday. I'm not sure. It's just, I don't know how I feel about the new kickoff rule.
Yeah,
I get they want to have player safety and everything, but I just don't know if this is it.
yeah. I mean, I can't look at it and just see, oh, I see that strategy. I know what we could do in this lineup. It's going to take a few weeks. Nobody's blowing, really running back kickoffs or anything I've seen in the preseason. So it's and they all have to wait to move till the ball's kicked, like as he should. But I mean, it seems like they wait even longer, or till the ball's in the end zone,
until it's received. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. I have like Carlson. I have Whelan. He's a good punter.
Yeah, Whelan's safe.
But like for the practice squad, I have like Clifford, Merriweather, Henry Pearson, Grant Dubose, Toure, at tight end number 82, Joel Wilson.
Oh yeah, he's made a catch here and there.
Caleb Jones played good yesterday. He's huge.
Oh yeah. What is he, 360 or something?
He's like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". He's a big boy. He's huge. Lecitus Smith, Donovan Jennings, Bretton Cox look good too.
Oh yeah. I would pick him to make the team, but it's there's definitely a numbers issue there, and it's like,
well, yeah, you could take. I mean, just think it's a numbers issue and it sucks, because it just affects what you could have. You don't want to see him going to another team, but you really can't help it either.
Yeah.
But Mosby, Christian Welch, Benny Sapp, Robert Rochelle, Chris Rutt, and Jamon Green. But I don't know. You never know. It sucks to see Jonathan Ford got injured yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That Goforth got taken off on a cart.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's too hard to tell, really. I mean, we're not in the conference rooms talking or anything, so we don't really know, what they're looking at. But you can just kind of go with like what we looked at and give our opinions, and we can rehash this down the road, and
all right.
But all in all, I think the preseason was good. The only dud we had was last weekend against the Broncos.
Yeah, that was brutal. So all we know is our second team is probably not as good as the Broncos defense. I think that's the only thing we learned. I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of a butt whooping. But the other thing you mentioned as far as the team countdown, do you think we're going to make any moves when other teams start cutting their players? Is there a position you think I don't see a real immediate need, but I
don't know.
It's something that we look at.
I mean, there's always people that are probably going to bring up conversation.
Yeah.
We could say, yeah, we'd want this person over, let's say, like Sean Clifford. Didn't Tampa Bay release the quarterback? Like Sean White or...
Yeah. And also Ryan Tannehill is still available. I know. The only reason I mentioned it is because he played under when LaFleur was in Tennessee. So, just maybe the possible connection. But then again, LaFleur hasn't told me how he feels about Ryan Tannehill either. We don't know if it's positive or negative or what. But
yeah,
it's a thought.
Yeah, I don't know if there really is. I mean, the thing is we have, with what we have carried over from last year, we have a pretty good three phases of team, special teams, offense and defense. I don't know if you would want to, unless it was like, you saw, was it Dotson got traded for like a 5th or a 6th round pick to the Eagles.
Right.
But he really didn't do much. Where'd he even come from? Was it the Commanders?
Yeah, Washington. Yep.
I mean, they've been a poverty franchise for how long? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they have new owners too, Washington. Yep. So I'm sure they just want to get a clean slate and start from scratch, and they want their guys to be in, and so.
Yeah, there's still talk about, as you still got all the things, the possible trades of Brandon Ayuk in San Francisco, but I don't I don't really know that they'd want to trade him. I think he's stuck there until his contract's up, or they get an offer they can't turn down.
I don't see it. I mean, Ayuk, he's a good player. He's being a wide receiver, he's probably a little diva too. And he's got delusions of grandeur, maybe on how, because he turned down big contracts with who was it? Oh, with Cleveland. They were trying to trade him to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And he turned that down, like 33 million, some crazy number like that. And so I don't think he's going anywhere. And plus, they're the rookie wide receiver, Pearsall, I think it is, for 49ers. He's hurt right now, so I think that's one more reason that they're gonna keep him. And so, and CeeDee Lamb, I don't know why Jerry just signed it. But he let Amari Cooper go because Amari Cooper got a little expensive, and they've let other guys go because of so.
But they haven't signed Lamb and they haven't extended Prescott. So what are they going to do? They're going to, whatchamacallit threw 5 picks yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He former top pick in the draft, wasn't he? I can't even. Trey Lance.
Yeah. Who the 49ers drafted and traded a bunch of stuff for him. Yeah. So I don't know. I think as Dak Prescott was looking at Lance and he's going, ooh, I think I just made some money today.
Yeah, but is Jerry going to want to spend it on you?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have the best year like look at last year. He had a good year until he met Green Bay in the playoffs, and then just got that game last year against the Packers, like guaranteed Jordan Love a contract extension and kind of made Dak look like a fool,
Oh, definitely.
And then speaking of the Cowboys, just reading that their cornerback Deron Bland is to undergo foot surgery. He projected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So that could hurt them too. He was the one that was having that remarkable year last year.
Oh yeah, and he's the big pick guy. He's a good turnover machine. And
Diggs too, right? Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs. Yep.
Yeah.
Stefan's brother.
Yeah. I'm just kind of here seeing if any recent news. The Ravens offensive line coach passed away this morning.
Oh wow.
At 70. But there's not really too much. I mean, it sucks that we I know why they do it. They don't want to get their investments hurt. We didn't really see much of Jordan. What we did, was enough to fortify his contract that we gave him. And one good thing out of camp this year is you don't hear about too many hamstring injuries.
No. Yeah, and I know we talked about that on there earlier, with Stokes and Christian Watson going to University of Wisconsin and that NFL, hamstring program, and hopefully they got it fixed. I mean, you're never going to get it go away, but at least if you have an idea why it happens and you can actually do something to lessen the chances, I think that's fantastic, and I think that's what they did. So
right, and enough's enough, and last year, I'm pretty sure they went under a new direction as far as their strength and conditioning team. I'm pretty sure they got people from the Niners this last year, and I forgot where I was reading it from, but it goes back to people saying, "Oh, LaFleur did this because he's buddy with this guy, and he did this because he's." I was reading that the strength and conditioning coach or one of the coaches is like a brother-in-law to LaFleur's wife or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they always got to find something to tie together.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of cool this last week in Green Bay. They had a joint practice and with the Ravens.
All right. Yeah.
And the last day of the camp or the joint practices, the Ravens actually rode bikes.
Right, I saw that.
Packers across. And there's a couple of kids that I coach 5th and 6th grade football this fall for my 5th grader, and a couple of the kids on the team like, coach. He's like, yeah, me and so and so got our Crocs signed by and I can't Zay Flowers, and I got Lamar Jackson's towel. Derrick Henry signed my Titans jersey, and all this. It's like cool to see the little kids going up there and taking part in a tradition that's been a tradition for years in Green Bay.
Definitely. Well, I think those Raven guys it seemed like they got a kick out of it too. They got to be a little part of history, and I hope those athletes realize, it may not seem like much, give them a towel or something, but when those kids are our age, they're still going to remember that day, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and it's just crazy. And you go around like Lambeau during mini camps and training camp, and just the parking lot's full like it's a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like we got a football. I went there with my kids a couple of weeks ago to Lambeau to the pro shop, and my boys got this little Packer football, and they're outside playing catch, and they came in, and the stitching came like unraveled, and like the inner tube, like on the inside of the football, was like a big abscess, like sticking off the football, and so we put it in the pro shop bag on the chair. I was going to return it, whatever, and all of a sudden we're sitting there. That's on. It just popped, and like everyone in the house jumped, right? The abscess blew up, right? So I brought it back and wasn't thinking about it. I brought it back on the last day of training camp, and it was just a total zoo. I had to like drive around to find a parking spot, and but they took care of it and gave me the money. But it's just like all they have like Oneida Street, Lambeau Street, like blocked off with squad cars and all that is, but I suppose, you got, in essence, the Ravens are a business and the Packers are a business. They have invested players that they spent a lot of money on, and something were to happen to one of them if they didn't have the, what I'm saying? It all makes sense, but it's just crazy. You're in a small city like Green Bay, and just to have all that attention in one area is crazy,
Yeah, well, like you saw my grandson earlier in the podcast. He's now 7. Well, as I might have mentioned before, 2 days after he was born, I put him on the season ticket waiting list. And he was 126,000, like 580. And now he's I'll get a new update in September, but last September he was down to 119. Which is and it's like, there's only 100,000 people in Green Bay, and
he like went down like $8,000 or 8,000 people in 7 years.
Yeah.
So he's not going to make it.
No, he's going to be like 71. We figured at that certain pace. So, because he's probably not going to get my tickets. I think my daughter's going to get them. And you have to put them in your will and stuff. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I think that's just a great sentiment to Packer fans everywhere, and it just, at this one of the smallest towns in professional sports that we have that big of a following.
Yeah, I heard someone saying like for drinks, for like a drink there was like $17.50 for like a beer.
Ooh.
At a game for like a tall can.
Oh wow.
So it's you get like 5 or 6 drinks, and that's a good chunk of money right there you're spending on.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But this team this year, Chuck, do you get like a certain like sense of like excitement just getting ready to watch them put it all together on a game day?
I am probably for the very fact that especially the offense teased us last year with last 10 games of the year, how well they played, not only throwing the ball, Jordan Love, but how well we ran the ball as well, and just surprising people going far, and that was with a defense that we weren't real confident with. I think is a safe way to put it. We knew we had some good players, but I think we weren't confident in our coordinator. I think that's no secret to say, and I think at least we have hope now with Hafley. We boosted with some like McKinney and free agency and a real solid draft, and so I'm real excited to see especially how well the defense progresses, and because like I mentioned, when Rodgers won his last Super Bowl, he had a top 5 defense, and he never had that after that. And I think that's what we need. Maybe it doesn't need to be top 5, but it probably needs to be top 10.
Right.
And I think, so what I'm excited to see is our defense moving toward that level. And, instead of just being good, to make it to that next level, we have to have a really solid defense. Plus, with our strong offense, then I think Packer fans will be happy. But that's kind of what I'm excited about looking for this season, the development of the defense.
Yeah, I know what we can do on offense. We've got, the running back and Jacobs, the potential in Wilson, especially if the pass game can open up the run game. You know what I'm saying? Like we put out 5 wide or 4 wide, and who are you going to double team? Love can get it to anybody. And all of a sudden, boom, we're going to pop a run for 15, 20 yards on you. What I'm looking forward to is the defense. We got that over-the-top player in McKinney. Jair's going to come back healthy. We got, 3 or 4 safeties we can put in to play opposite of McKinney. So we got, the secondary taken care of. I think Stokes will come back, make a big impact this year. We have leaders pretty much at every level on defense. You got Kenny Clark on the line, Devontae White's making a name for himself. Linebacker, we got Rashawn Gary, we got Preston Smith, we got Luke Van Ness, we got Tyron Hopper. We haven't seen anything of Edger and Cooper.
No, we haven't.
Just imagine him being healthy and making an impact. No one knows what to expect out of him.
Exactly, and I was really looking forward to seeing him. Because loved what he did in college, and that was a position of need for us. So yeah, that's also something I'm looking for.
So yeah, it's going to be. I think we're going to have a cutthroat defense. I really do. I think we're going to make that quarterback make quick decisions, ones that he's going to regret, hopefully, after he makes it. But,
yeah,
nonetheless, make him think quick and make him make mistakes. But the one thing I'm questioning, even think about Nixon on defense. He playing the slot. He has the speed.
Yeah, I thought he played better than I expected last year. That pick against the Chiefs. And so I think surrounded by other quality defensive backs, I think Nixon can be definitely a contributor.
And what I like about this defense, too, is you have enough experience and knowledge within that 11 players playing to where if there's like a gap or a hole or like an issue, they can constructively talk amongst each other to find the solution without a fight breaking out on the sidelines.
Right.
And they're playing for a coordinator that they like,
mm-hmm.
And so that's really, it's like, the game against the Eagles can't come quick enough.
Well, that's what you worry about with a defense under a new coordinator. It's kind of a new system, is the communication, how are guys going to pick up and, make sure you're getting your proper assignments. And so, and like if coaches make it a system that feel free to communicate well, I think that's going to, lessen the learning curve there. So,
yeah. And you have a coach like Joe Barry, who obviously players didn't like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, they had players going out there probably put in the wrong spot, told the wrong thing, guessing what to do. You know, that gets your frustration up super high, especially like when you're trying to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
And you don't, I mean, it's from the sounds of it, everyone loves Halfley. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens, but it's looking to be a promising year for the Packers. And, we'll learn more as the cut downs come out in the next week. When do they have to make it down to 53? Is that, I forgot what day they have to trim the roster down.
Thought it was. I'd have to double check, but I think it's Friday. Friday was at the 30th. Oh, yeah, I think it's.
Yeah. I'm just reading here. Tuesday, the 53-man roster cut deadline is on Tuesday, August 28th.
Oh, okay. It's Tuesday.
Wasn't 3 days.
Yeah. All right.
They got to trim from 90 to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so
Crazy.
Right. So that's going to be interesting then when those cuts start happening, because there's going to be probably some cap casualties, guys who are still quality players, but making too much money, and so.
That's the thing too, that we could gain an advantage, like getting some of these veteran cuts, ones that want to come make that, maybe make it their last run in their career, with Jordan Love, versus wanting to come make a run with an old wily veteran like Aaron Rodgers.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
So maybe it might be good to be in the position that we're in now. You never know. Guess we'll find out within the next 7 days what's going to happen. And
well, that Josh Jacobs mentioned that was one of the reasons he decided to sign. And
McKinney.
Yeah, and McKinney. Yeah, both because of Jordan Love. It's.
I think Halfley coached McKinney maybe a little bit at Alabama too.
Oh, okay.
I think I heard that correct.
Okay.
Because they were off season, I think before I saw an interview where they're interviewing McKinney and they mentioned Halfley and something to do with like the connection with Alabama and McKinney, and McKinney's like, oh yeah, that's right, or something like that. So it's anyway, it's just good that we have a quarterback in our team that people want to come play with, and a youngish coaching staff that can fit the personalities of some of these younger players. So,
and Jordan seems like a positive young guy, and the kids, they seem to like him. Made me feel good that he was still working out in the off season with some of the receivers too, and so even though he was waiting his huge contract, he's just so. I continue to like what I see from him, so it's encouraging.
Perfect. Well, I'll have to check my schedule, but I think I'm full. I'm not full. I might have some October dates, and doesn't the NBA start in October?
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe we'll have some. Maybe I'll have to get you on in October.
Talk some Bucks.
Talk some Bucks and Packers and Badgers.
That'd be fantastic.
Packers. I'll make a note right here. Packers, Bucks, Badgers. Because that'll be October, and I'll get a hold of you with dates and see what works for you. And I know it's a little bit in the future, but it doesn't hurt to plan ahead. And
definitely, I'm all for that. So
for sure. Well, Chuck, I want to thank you again for being on tonight. And this will be what, number 3 for you? I think 3 or 4.
Actually, 4.
4.
Yeah.
Wow. So. It seems like just yesterday I started doing these podcasts.
All right.
But I think I started in April, so it's been a few months. But I just want to thank you for being on tonight and giving your kind of going through the roster, and we kind of have the same idea of what we want to happen, and hopefully that's what the Packers kind of go from what we saw this offseason and what we saw preseason. Yesterday was an awesome game. I think it solidified some of these 2s and 3s for the roster, and we'll hope for a victory against the Eagles and go Pack, go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks again, Brian, for having me. I always up for talking Packers. So again, thanks everyone, and also go Pack, go.
Yeah, and go on the Twitter universe and give Chuck a follow at CRMets23.
Right.
And send your Packer friends too.
Definitely.
Thanks, Chuck. Have a good night.
Yep, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.